Welcome to this particular video, and today we are looking at just another concept in our React for the web versus React Native for mobile app development. We are kind of looking at some of the core differences between both of them, so that if you are building application using React for the web and you are doing same using React Native, especially when you are using Expo React Native for mobile development, you should know some of the key factors, some of the important core features you should pay attention to so that you wouldn't miss them all. Today it's all about navigation in React versus React Native. Okay, so how does this differ? For instance, there are basic core differences you have to pay attention to, especially if you are coming from the React background. One of the core differences is based on how they are built. If you are looking at React for the web, then it is built around browser's address, bar. You have the slashes, you can have the home, the about, the contact page, other pages. It could be related to about us. Then you could have pages such as info and whatever it is you decide to add in such a page. So the point is that it is built around a browser's address, because what we are doing is browser based, because we are working with the document object model for React for the web. But if you are looking at something similar in React Native, you are not going to get that, because it is quite different. We are talking about URL for the web. Then for React Native, we are talking about screen navigation. So you can see that we are navigating between screens using stack, tabs, and drawers, because that is how React Native is built. So just a common example, if you look at this code I'm showing you here for React for the web, is going to show you a practical syntax on how this is going to work, how you should structure it when you are writing your code, as against this particular one here, which for React Native for mobile application development. I believe that you have seen a little difference between the two of these. Again, one point you should note, this is based on route-based navigation, okay, for React for the web, whereas for mobile application, what you are looking at, it is component based, because each of the features you want to add, you are going to add them as individual components, like we have explained. Especially if you have watched the previous video, then you are going to see how some of these things work together. So if you are looking at this, then you are going to be seeing stuff like this linked to a slash, it could be home, about, contact, and the rest of them, as you have seen in React for the web. Then if you are looking at React Native, then you are going to be using navigation component, navigation container, stock.navigator, stack.screen, and so many other components that you can have for React Native for mobile development. Alright, just a recap of what we have looked at earlier. Looking at what we have for React for the web, it's React router DOM, right? That is the routing mechanism for React for the web. Then when you compare it to what you have for React Native, you are going to use React navigation / native. That is the routing mechanism for React Native. Then this is URL based. Like I've explained earlier, it uses URL navigation because we are working with the DOM. But what we have here, you are moving between screens, screen-based navigation, as you have for the web. Then if you look at, you are using links to link to the pages, whether it's home page, contact page, whichever page you are linking to, then you are using link, all right? But again, like we said, you are using navigation as you have here. Then this is the route definition for what you have for React for the web. Then stack.screen and name, then it's going to use this route definition. Again, common pitfalls to avoid when you are using React versus React Native. One, forgetting to wrap your app in the router. Okay, then you are using href as you have in HTML as against the link. If you do that, then it's not going to work. That is for React, for the web. But then talking about React Native, some of the common pitfalls is that you are using navigation without navigation container. If you do that, then it's going to throw an error or it's not going to work. Then not using the use navigation hook when you are using outside the screen component. If you do that, then it may not work. So I believe you've gotten value from this video. Please give a like, subscribe. I'm going to see you in the very next video.